Hello and welcome to another episode of Millennial Economics. Today we're going to talk about how I overcame my fear of investing. All right, well, to start, I just want to tell you all a little bit about my story, how I went from not investing, deeply in debt, having no really financial knowledge at all, other than maybe earning more money, and kind of my progression to investing, producing content about investing and personal finance. So let's just get right into that. So my wife and I, we got married at an early age. She was 19 and I was 21. We had a kid very early on, and I didn't ever really grow up in a family where we invested a lot or even really talked about personal finance a lot. It was definitely a very middle class type of environment, and I think my parents lived primarily paycheck to paycheck. So in that, I knew that making more money meant that you could spend more and save more. But I knew nothing about what investing was. I didn't know how to be involved in the stock market. I didn't know even what a 401k was. So, as I progressed in my age and started to have a family, I started to pick up some of the habits that are not the best, we'll say, in I guess, contributing to good personal finance habits. So I wasn't making a lot of money. I believe when I started my career, when I was married in sales, I was making probably around $30,000 or $40,000. My wife was staying at home with our newborn. And what I eventually found out is that, when you are in debt with credit cards, with personal loans, with vehicles, and you have a lot going out and you don't have much coming in, all of a sudden you're living paycheck to paycheck. All of a sudden you're not making any progress towards some of the goals that you are wanting for later in your life, right? So as I started feeling that, I decided I don't want to pursue that, or I don't want that to be my story until I retire, right? So what we decided to do is we decided to get debt free. And I started really educating myself on good personal finance habits, budgeting, and then I started to dabble in investing, and we'll get a little bit into that later. But through this journey, I felt the pain early on of living paycheck to paycheck and not having much money to do anything, eat out, go on vacation, invest. To where I'm at now, where we're able to do those things in terms of vacations and investing and buying nicer things and thinking about the future. So it's really been a large evolution, a long evolution to where I'm at now. And if you are enjoying this video, I would love it if you liked the video and also subscribe to the channel. I'm on a track to produce about 2 pieces of content every week. So if you want to be up to date on that, subscribing will notify you and show those videos on your feed. Okay, so the first tip that I have, and really how I overcame investing, is I started small, all right? I didn't have a lot of education about what investing was when I initially started, and I think when you're starting and you start small, that's okay. What I did is I had an Acorns account. I heard about it maybe on YouTube or something like that. Maybe I saw an ad for it. But again, I was at this phase in my life where I knew I wanted to start building for my future. I just didn't necessarily know how, other than increasing my income and getting out of debt. So I learned a little bit about Acorns and I decided to sign up. I had no idea what an index fund was, what a stock was, what an ETF was, what Roth IRAs were. I was just becoming familiar with truly what a 401k was at this time. And this was probably maybe 5-6 years ago. But I knew, again, that I wanted to be better. I wanted to better myself and my life for the future. So I decided to sign up for Acorns, and I started with $5 every Friday. Doesn't seem like a lot, but that $5 every Friday was huge for me. And it was it was an amount that I was able to allocate towards some investment. Again, I didn't fully understand it, but it allowed me to get in the habit of investing. It allowed me to start to see what a regular habit of investing can actually do. Not only was the principal that I was contributing increasing every week, but I was able to start seeing how stocks can grow and how dividends are paid out. When I invested into Acorns, I had no idea what a dividend even was. So when I looked at my balance one day, I saw that there were some distributions from these companies that I had invested in. I was like, man, what is this? So it led me to actually just Googling what a dividend was. And I learned. And now I have a whole kind of side portfolio that I invest in every month. That's a dividend producing portfolio. So one way that I learned and kind of overcame my fear of investing is starting little, starting small on Acorns. And that leads me right into Acorns. I talk about it almost every video. If you are a beginner investor in particular, and most of you probably are if you're watching this video, I think personally Acorns is a great platform. It has been a great option for me over the past 5 or 6 years. If you click the link below and sign up with that referral link in the description, you'll get $5 added to your Acorns account absolutely free, and I'll get a little kickback as well. All right, and just to kind of, I guess, go back to the beginning, when we're talking about fear of investing, I think a lot of us grow up being told that we should be savers. I remember my great-grandmother, even my mother and my father saying, hey, you need to save, you need to save, you need to save. Good people that are good with their money save. And not one time did they mention good people that are good with their money actually invest it so that it grows and starts working for them. And so when I started learning about investing, it was hard for me to kind of take that plunge, right? Because I'm investing into something in my head that's very speculative, that I don't really know about. That, what if I lose all my money? What if I end up, broke if I'm investing, every last penny to my name? That can be very scary, and maybe you find yourself there. So, one way that I got over that, again, like I just mentioned before, I invested a very small amount, an amount that if it was out of my account, I wouldn't even really know the difference. It was the amount of buying a coffee at Starbucks, going through the drive-thru once every Friday. Again, I started off just investing $5 every Friday. So one way that I overcame investing is that I started slow and I started small. Getting into the next reason how I overcame my fear of investing is education, right? So I kind of started in a weird order. I started investing before I really knew a lot. And I suppose that's okay. I don't know if I necessarily recommend that to you all. But as I started to see my investments grow, I then became motivated to educate myself about some of these principles. All right. So I did a lot of reading. I read a lot of books. I was a Dave Ramsey fanatic early on in my personal finance journey. I think Dave Ramsey, while I don't agree with everything that he says, I think that his tactics, strategies, and the way he even delivers the messaging about becoming debt-free is fantastic. So I became obsessed with Dave Ramsey. I read his books. I listened to his show on the radio. I listened to his podcast. I watched his YouTube videos. And that was really the beginning of the knowledge that I was building towards personal finance and good financial habits. I also started reading books. I'm an avid reader. You all can see maybe some of the books there. That's like maybe 20% of what I have. They're stored all over the house because you don't have space for them. But I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It really introduced me to, I guess, how money can start working for you and not just becoming a saver, but becoming an investor, whether that's in stocks or business or what have you. So I started reading. And then I really got into, I'm a huge YouTube fan, but I really got into YouTube. And I started watching people like Graham Stephan and Ryan Scribner and Andre Zick. I started consuming this content on a regular basis, and it taught me a wide variety of things, but it taught me about the power of investing, the power of compound interest, the power of dollar cost averaging. I really started getting this knowledge just in my system so that when I started making decisions on larger amounts of money to invest, it was kind of a no-brainer, and I knew automatically how to navigate those decisions. It's one thing to invest $5 every Friday, but when you start investing lump sums of $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, it can become very scary, because for me and my family, that amount of money is still a lot of money. We're not to the point yet where I can just throw $1,000 at something, and if it doesn't work, it's no big deal. So education emboldened me to be even more aggressive with my investing after we got debt free, and as my income increased, and I had a larger sum, I had larger sums of money to start investing. And then really the final thing is I stuck with it long enough. I stuck with investing long enough to start seeing the results and start seeing the benefits of investing, right? So my trajectory, again, to recap, I started small with $5 a week in Acorns. I then started educating myself, and I continue to educate myself on investing in good personal finance habits. And then I stuck with it long enough to be able to see the benefit. If you invest for 2 months and you lose money, and you might decide to pull the plug on it because you're gun shy and you lost money, and every dollar at this point in your financial journey matters a lot to you. However, if you're able to stick with it for 1, 2, 3, 5 years, and you start seeing those dividend disbursements, you start seeing the stocks that you are purchasing growing in value, or you start seeing the income you're making from real estate and the increase of the value of the property, when you start seeing the benefits that investing can have, it will motivate you to continue to invest and become more proficient and prolific with it. All right. And that was huge for me. Again, with Acorns, $5 a day or $5 a week doesn't seem like a lot, but at the end of the year, when you realize you have maybe $50 to $100 in there, and that's more than you've saved in the past year because you're living to paycheck. And oh, by the way, you see that maybe that investment grew 7 to 10%. You go, oh man, this could be a really cool thing for me. That's how I overcame my fear of investing. I hope that it was beneficial for you. Again, if you are early on in the stage of your personal finance journey and your investing journey, what I would say is to start slow, start small, start with an amount of money that doesn't really matter if you lose it, and then start educating yourself. And it will be a snowball effect as you build these good personal finance and investing habits. You'll start to see your income increase. You'll start to see your monthly margin increase because maybe you're out of debt, and you'll have the conviction enough at that point to start investing greater sums of money. So thank you so much for tuning in to another episode, and we will talk to you very soon.